Hello, and the warmest of welcomes indeed to this afternoon's iOB business webinar. It's an absolute pleasure to have you on here. My name is Ben, and I'm the resident business coach here at iOB Business. Now, just before we get kicked off, a couple of ground rules, as it were, or sort of housekeeping things to let you know about as we go through the webinar. Ground rules for me. All right. So when we're going through the webinar, okay, we are going to give you ample opportunity to ask any questions and indeed take down any notes that you might have, because we know that lots of you love to do this throughout the webinars. So we're going to discuss 3 topics today, as always, and in between each of the 3 topics, you're more than welcome to take a moment. I'm going to give you a moment as well to fire away any questions and jot down any notes. Okay, so for those of you that are just joining us now, welcome. It's a pleasure to have you on here. Okay, just checking everyone is good. We look all set, ready to go. Lovely to see some new faces on here as well. An absolute pleasure and a very warm welcome if this is your first iOB business webinar. Today, we're going to be talking about the fact that success is a matter of perspective. Okay, it's a wonderful topic. It's something that I think about myself personally an awful lot. It's something that I think many of us should think about, because perspective is such a wonderful thing, and we can be so grateful for things that we have instead of, potentially feeling like we're missing something that we don't. So what I would love for you to feel at the end of this webinar is that success is your perspective. Okay, so whilst we are waiting just a final minute or so for everybody to join us today, I'm going to get us set up on today's session. So you should be able to hear my voice, and you should be able to see the presentation up on screen still, but you shouldn't be able to see me anymore. I've just gone ahead and switched off my video camera. Welcome to those of you that are joining. We'll just give it one final half minute until we get to the 2 o'clock mark, and then we can get kicked off. So once again, a massive thank you for those of you taking the time to join us. I'm very, very excited to present this webinar to you. You can probably tell in my voice, and I hope that you gain massive, massive value from the webinar that we have coming up for you today. All right, so without further ado, if you could just give me a very, very brief heads up in the chat box. Let me know if you can hear my voice okay. And please indeed let me know if you can see the presentation up on screen okay, with just a 1 or a thumbs up or a yes, whatever works. And just a final note before we get kicked off, if you do have any issues throughout today's webinar, just drop us a note in the chat box and we'll do our best to help you if you are having any problems, but we don't expect any. All right, so excellent. Thank you so much. Good. All right, ready to go then. So today's topic, success is a matter of perspective. As always, we're going to run through myself, who I am, and then we're going to dive onto the 3 topics that we're going to discuss for you today. So my name is Ben Porter Smith. I'm a professional business coach, and I specialize in working with small businesses just like many of you on here today, and to help them achieve stability and growth. It's my passion, it's my love, it's what I get to do every single day, and I'm truly blessed to have this opportunity to be on here presenting with you today. Okay, so the 3 topics we're going to cover. Number 1, how you define success, you being the key and operative word here. Okay. Number 2, how to focus on you and only your ambition. And number 3, understanding what success could mean for others. All right, so whilst we are focusing heavily on ourselves, what does success mean to us? How do we understand this concept? We're also going to cover a little bit of understanding how other people think as well, because then you can help aid them in their wonderful journeys, inadvertently potentially helping yourself along the way. Okay, so beginning with topic number 1, how you define success. Once again, please ask away with questions. Please feel free to jot down any comments. Let me know if we're rushing ahead, and I can give you a moment, all right, to catch up. So how you define success? Beginning with topic number 1, what are your desires in life? Okay, now this is the type of questioning that I want you to begin answering for yourself, because today's topic of conversation is very heavily based on what success means to you. Okay, if success is relative, and the word relative really implies here that this is us. Okay, it's very much how we define it. Okay, it's how we look at things. We shouldn't be looking at what other people are doing and being jealous or sort of longing for their life. Let's think about your life and what success really means to you, what makes you happy. Okay, so if I ask you the question, first of all, feel free to write down here. I'm going to spend a little bit of time on this point. If we're looking at desires, okay, desires mean things really such as, where do you want to be? What do you want to do? What do you want to have if we're looking at material things? What do you want for your family? What do you want for your friends? What do you want for yourself? What are your desires in life? Okay. Now, one person's desire might be to have a 10-bedroom country mansion out in the middle of the countryside. Other people's, desire might be to have a studio apartment in a penthouse of a city. Okay. That's if we're looking at the kind of more materialistic things. Some people's desires is to have more time. Some people's desires is to have more freedom of choice. Okay. So have a think and write down what your desires are in life. Okay. Now, the next thing I want you to look at is, how do you measure your objectives and achievables? Okay. Because everybody has different theories of measurement here. Okay. Now, some of us prefer to break it down into kind of small things. So if my objective today, I just want to get out of bed and I want to have a great day. If that's my only objective, there's nothing wrong with that, because that is my perspective. That's what makes me happy. If I'm fully fulfilled, it shouldn't concern me or anyone else. Okay. If I'm feeling like, because I got out of bed today, I made the bed, I had a shower, I had my breakfast, and I smashed my morning, if that makes me happy and that makes me fulfilled, that's all that needs to happen. Okay. Now, other people choose to measure their objectives and achievables in quarterly chunks, in weekly chunks, and they say, okay, well, in week 1, I'm going to achieve this. In week 2, I'm going to achieve this. Goes on for the month, goes on to the quarter. In quarter 1, January through March, are going to achieve this. And by quarter 4, okay, quarter 4, we're looking at sort of, October to December time, I want to have achieved this. Okay, now this is the big one. I want to do this at the end of the year. So I need you to think for yourself, how good are you and how do you measure your objectives and achievables? Okay, do you sit down and do you plan out what your objectives are going to be? Do you think, okay, well, my objective for the end of the month is to earn £5,000. My objective for the end of the year is to earn £60,000. Okay, my achievables. Okay, well, in order to do that, I need a KPI sheet, key performance indicators. Okay, I need to know that if I'm going to earn this much money, then in week 1, I've got to be talking to 5 prospects. By week 4, I've got to have spoken to 20. These are my achievables. Okay, what is your objectives, your achievables look like? Okay, now the really honest answer here is, what is the best way for you to do it? Okay, because there are many business theories, there are many examples of what an amazing business owner, so to speak, if we're looking at the business context, could do. But really what I want you to do is do things in the way that you do them best. Because I know that everybody has a different method of learning and everybody has a different method of implementation. My method might not work for you. Okay, my method could be considered optimal, but who says that that's necessarily right or wrong? Okay, I like to go on proven methods that work and have a history of working. And the other thing I like to do is go on methods that I've developed myself that work best for me. And that's not going to be the same as you, and it's not going to be the same as your neighbor. Okay, so how you measure your objectives and your achievables really fits best with you. Okay, and how you prefer to do things in life. Now, some prefer to learn by reading. Some prefer to learn by reading and then writing. Some prefer to learn by verbal speech. Others are videos. Others are trial and error, putting it into practice. All right. So have a think about this for me. Okay. Now, the next thing, okay, I'm going to slow it down just a bit here so that you've got time, because I know you'll be writing. Now, the next question I have for you, the third question for today: what does your life look like in 10 years? Now, if you don't think this way, this is something I would love to encourage you to do, because between the age of 20 and 30, you'll still be you, but the chances are you'll have a much more different view on life in many ways. Usually by age 20, if we're looking at young professionals, they're looking at refining their career or their business choices. Okay. Now, by age 30, if they started when they were 20, they've got 10 career years under their belt or 10 business years under their belt. They're thinking about other things. They're thinking about family sometimes. They're thinking about home, travel, ambition, financial ambition. All right. So what I'd love for you to do is picture what your life looks like in 10 years. Where are you? What are you doing? And if I encourage you, to think back 10 years from today, what were you doing? Where were you? Okay. What did your life look like 10 years ago? Because 10 years sounds like an awful long time. But if we don't put in these small things, if we don't put in these small changes and ambitions, we say, oh, okay, yeah, well, I'm going to own a country mansion in 10 years. But instead of making that happen day to day, I'm just going to keep earning my salary of 20,000 a year and hope that by some impossible measure, I just all of a sudden have enough money to buy that mansion. Now, unfortunately, this is a sad story that I've heard by many, that they project these long-term goals, 5-year goals, 10-year goals, 20-year goals, but they don't change anything in the day-to-day. And they don't think to themselves actively. They don't put it on their chalkboard. They don't put it on the front of their fridge. This is what I'm doing. This is why I'm getting out of bed every day. This is exactly what I want to achieve. Unfortunately, that 10 years passes, and whilst many other wonderful things will likely have happened in their life, they don't have the thing that they promised themselves 10 years ago. Okay. So life looks very different to many people 10 years from now, but the chances are if we don't do anything to drastically change that life, it may look relatively similar to the life that we have now. And if that's what makes you happy, I'm all for you. But if we think to ourselves, what do I want? Do I want something material? Do I want to change? Do I want to be working significantly less? Do I want to be working at all? Okay. Do I want a business that provides passive income for me? All right. So next question I have for you is, what brings that feeling of contentment? Okay. What genuinely makes you feel content? What makes you feel happy? Is having enough money to go out for a nice dinner with your partner making you happy? Does it bring that feeling of contentment? Seeing a smile on your children's face at the park, does that bring you that feeling of contentment? What is it that makes you so indescribably happy? Okay. Now, this is so important because if we're looking at the fact that success is a matter of perspective, it means so many different things to so many different people. Okay. This feeling of contentment might not come to somebody until they've earned £1 million in cash. Other people will be happy simply owning a property of their own, no matter how big or small. Okay. So this is different to everyone. And I want you to think about for a moment what that means to you. Okay. So that brings us to the end of topic number 1. I'm going to give you a chance now to go ahead and jot down any notes and finalize. I did ask you a lot of questions there. So go ahead and finalize any notes that you would like to take. And I'll be right back with you for topic number 2 in just a moment. All right, perfect. So hopefully you've had a chance to do that and we can move on to topic number 2. Well, topic number 2 is how to focus on your and only your ambition. Okay. So we're going to cover both sides of the coin here. Topic number 2, we're going to talk about how we can focus on you. And topic number 3, we're going to talk about how we can focus on others. And hopefully by the end of the webinar, you'll have a good idea of how you can combine these two to become the best version of yourself and the best version of yourself looking to help others. Okay. So the first thing I'm going to tell you, and this is from personal experience, you've got to become great at tuning out the noise. Okay. Now, this is a metaphor. Tuning out the noise really means focusing on yourself and staying in your lane. Because if I consider myself very successful as a bakery shop owner and I'm earning £100,000 a year and I'm putting smiles on customers' faces every day because they love my bread, to me, that could be everything. That could be all the success I ever could have imagined. But then if I go into the city and I see a chain of bakeries that are doing millions of pounds a year in turnover and they're producing massive quantities of stock over anything I could ever produce, I might then begin to feel that, well, actually, I'm not actually doing much. Success is relative. And this is such an important message. And so you can probably hear the passion in my voice because it is absolutely categorically true. And it's something I very, very, very strongly believe in, that you must discuss with yourself and your loved ones what success means to you. And even at that, it's good to have your own personal definition of success. So become great at tuning out the noise in many, many different ways. This means seeing stuff on social media, seeing stuff on news articles about somebody doing this or somebody doing that, or somebody achieving something that you're not. Okay. There's an awful lot of pressure on many of us to believe that we should be achieving more. We should be doing this. We should be doing that. But if anybody other than yourself was that, it's not relevant to you. Okay. If you want to grow your business because it's your personal ambition and that would make you happy, by all means, do it. Okay. But if that's not something, if there's something else from outside driving you to do that, somebody making you believe that that's what you should be doing, but not actually what you want to be doing, I want you to think about why you're doing it. So the first thing that you got to do, become great at tuning out the noise. Focus in your own lane. Make yourself happy and those around you that you love and you want to take care of, make them happy as well. Okay. Become great at tuning out the noise. Listen to yourself. Trust yourself. Because often, and I love phrases like this, I saw something a while ago, and it was like people, or those are scared of things that they believe they couldn't do themselves. So if you're going to do something that they believe they could never do, they could then project their insecurity, their fear onto you and say, hey, Ben, you'll never do that. You'll never achieve this. Just relax. Go and get a normal job. Slow down. Okay. That's nothing on you. That's not a disbelief in your ambition, in your intelligence, in your skill level. Most of the time, it's a projection of insecurity from other people because they themselves don't believe that they could do it. So why would they then believe that you could? Or why would they want you to? Okay. You got to become great at tuning out the noise. Number 2, focus on your attributes and therefore your chosen path, not others. Okay. If I go back down to the level that I spoke about on the first point, where we're looking at this bakery shop owner that earns £100,000 a year and he makes lots of cake and bread and all the rest of it. This is what he or she is great at, okay? And with this theory in mind, it really, really helps, because if we're looking at these attributes, that is what they are great at. This is what they can do the best, okay? But then if they see, let's say, a restaurant owner open up next door who seems to have way more customers and talks about making way more money, if you then begin to believe, oh, well, why didn't I choose to become a restaurateur? Why am I just a baker? Those aren't your attributes. It's not your skill level. And also, you can't believe everything that everyone says, okay? Your skill level in bakery could be through the roof, but your skill level in being a chef could be very low, okay? There are different industries in this world. There are different niches. There are different capsules of skill that create different forms of income. Now, if you wanted to raise your income through bakery, you could do that. You don't have to become a restaurateur to make more money. So I want you to begin to analyze your own attributes and think about what it is that you're great at. Because if your particular skill level in your chosen niche is making you a certain amount of money, and then you see somebody else in a completely different skill, completely different niche, making a lot of other money, it's irrelevant, okay? It doesn't matter, because that is not your skill, that is not your niche, that is not your pocket. Focus on your attributes and therefore your chosen path, not the path of others, okay? There are pros and cons of every single path in every single profession. Now, speaking specifically about digital agencies, this massively applies. And if you didn't click on already, all of this has been an analogy for different things that we think about. I love to use them when I'm speaking because they help so much. Now, let's look at digital agencies. We've got paid advertising. We've got even things like guerrilla marketing, really cool creative ideas. We've got things like SEO. We've got things like website development. Now, would somebody typically make more money in paid advertising than they would doing social media management? Probably. But you could have a higher quantity of customers if you're in social media management, or a higher quantity of clients, or a higher caliber of client. And then you start making more money than somebody in paid advertising, okay? You're welcome at any point to look into your own niches, and you can transfer skills for sure, okay? If you work hard enough at it. But what I want you to begin to understand is that you pick your niche, you pick your area very specifically, and it is so much more effective for you to stay on your path and do the absolute best you can in your field, become the best of the best in your field, as opposed to trying to jump to another field that you're unfamiliar with just because you've seen it's making a little bit more money, or you believe that it's making a little bit more money, or there's more success, or there's more fame associated with that, okay? It's your attributes, your chosen path of ambition, not others. It's easy to become influenced by external factors and doubt or change your own path. So this is an affirmation of everything that we just discussed. It's so easy to become influenced by things that we don't even realize. You see a social media influencer driving a Lamborghini, but you look at your car and you're driving a BMW, okay? You think, well, if I'd have been doing what they're doing, I would be driving a Lamborghini as well. It's so easy to become influenced by these things, by material factors, by other factors. You see a video or you watch a clip, you know, of somebody doing something differently to you, even if you're in the same profession, same niche, same everything. You see somebody doing something differently to the way you would do it. What's to say what they're doing is better than the way you're doing it? Maybe you're just on a longer path, okay? But maybe your path will ultimately be more successful because it was refined more than theirs was. But it's so easy, if we don't actively stay conscious of this, to become influenced by these external factors and then begin to doubt or change your own path. And this is not something that we want to do. So you should remind yourself daily of your own vision, your personal and your business growth. What do you want to do? What are your desires in life? What noise are you tuning out, okay? Remind yourself daily of your own vision. Try not to become influenced by all of these external factors, because honestly, you will drive yourself loopy potentially by listening to all of these different opinions from all these different people, all saying that they're the best and they know best and they know how to do this and they know how to do that. Forget that. Pick your circle, pick your vision, remind yourself of it daily, and do the absolute best you can do in that field at that point in that time. Okay, so that brings us to the end of topic number 2. Once again, just before we dive on to the third and final topic of today, I'm going to give you a brief pause to jot down any notes, and I'll be right back with you in just a minute. Wonderful. Okay, so that brings us nicely on to the third and final topic of the day, understanding what success could mean for others. Now, we want to have open minds. We want to understand, whilst we are channeling our own success, We also need to be certain of what other people might be thinking, okay? So first of all, an obvious statement, everyone defines success in a different way, okay? Some people want the house, some people want the car, some people want the time, some people want more time with their family, some people want bigger families, some people want to travel more, some people want to eat better food, some people want to wear better clothes. Everyone defines success in a different way. You'd meet somebody who believed that wearing a designer jacket was success, okay? You'd find another person that didn't believe they had any success whatsoever, but they're living in a $5 million townhouse with a huge family and loads of loved ones around them, but they still feel like they needed more, okay? Everyone defines success in a different way. And once again, I love presenting this webinar because there is so much thought and passion and emotion that goes into thinking about these things, which is so wonderful to present, because everyone has a different definition of success, and you shouldn't doubt yours just because it isn't the same as somebody else's. And in vice versa, you shouldn't doubt somebody else's just because it's not the same version as yours. So if somebody else will be happy living in a normal house with a normal sort of smaller, maybe a smaller than normal business, okay, or normal, how would you define normal? Again, I ask you the question. There is no normal definition here. You've got your small businesses by literal definition, small to medium businesses, medium businesses, large businesses. If somebody is happy with a small business in their local town, good. You should be happy for them. Doesn't concern you unless you want to support, and in which case it should only be positivity that you bring to the table. So everyone defines success in a different way. For some it's personal, others it's business. Often a strong business is the vehicle. Okay, so we're talking about business an awful lot because this is a business-based webinar. We're digital agency focused. So for some people, it's a personal ambition that they want to achieve. Now, what we always look at with this is, if you think about it as getting from A to B, you need to get to a destination. If success is the destination, ironically, many say that success is also the journey, but really you're going to need a vehicle either way. Okay, the vehicle is what carries you from, if you think, point A to point B. And some people, they enjoy never really reaching point B, but they enjoy the ride in the vehicle. Okay, now the vehicle is often a strong business. Okay, now the reason for this, not always, but a lot of the time, businesses are the vehicle, because businesses give you unlimited flexibility. You can build it as big or as small as you want. You can hire as many or as little people as you want in your team. You can offer as many or as few services as you want. Okay, there's not really any rule. Okay, there's a lot of practices and best practices, and there's a lot of legalities, obviously, in different businesses, but there's no rule that says you can't earn millions and millions and millions of pounds in your business. There's absolutely no rule that says that. Okay, so for some it's personal, others it's business, but often a strong business is the vehicle. It's what carries them there because they can manage it their way. They're the boss. They control things. They decide what's happening today and what isn't. Okay, often a strong business is the vehicle for these people because they assume maximum control. They then have control to give to their family, to give to the ones that they love, because they occupy this mental freedom of happiness, contentment, fulfillment. This is what I'm doing. This is what I love to do, especially if the business does something wonderful for other people. They're helping other businesses get more clients, they're helping other businesses grow. They're helping other family-run businesses achieve more success. That is so much contentment in my eyes, so much fulfillment, okay? So often a strong business is the vehicle. Now, this is not for you to pay attention to, only to input when supporting, okay? So we said this earlier, understanding what success could mean for others. It's not for you to necessarily pay attention to, judge, or comment on, only to input when you're being supportive, okay? We want to stay away from others with anything negative. We want to stay away from others with anything that could bring them down, okay? There's a very big difference between being pessimistic and negative that there is to being real and realist, or an optimist as well, okay? But what I would definitely encourage you to start thinking about is, if you see somebody achieving some level of success, or they've discussed with you previously what their success looks like, and then you feel like, well, if there's something that you would like to say, maybe think twice in a very, very positive way. Maybe what you're about to say, if it wouldn't help them, if it wouldn't make them feel like they are capable of more or achieving what they want to achieve, then I would strive to say, potentially maybe not best saying it. Because if I flip the script and I say, well, if you were excited about your dreams and your ambitions and something that you wanted to achieve with your business, if somebody said something negative about it, you might not listen to it, but it certainly wouldn't make you feel good. All right. So this is not for you to pay attention to, only to input when supporting. And we look at this from both sides of the coin. So you may not understand others' idea of success, but this is because they've chosen their path for a reason. as should you. So we've talked so much in this webinar about how you should define what your desires are. You should define what your attributes are, what your objectives are, what your achievables are in life. You might not understand others, and others might not understand yours. They probably won't, in fact. Okay, specific things that you want, you might get the question, why? And it's a question like you feel like you should never have to answer. And hey, guess what? You don't. You don't have to tell anyone why. If it's something that you love, something that you're passionate about, something you care about, but you don't want to tell them why, don't tell them why. Okay? I should understand why you want to do it simply because they love and respect you, or if they don't love you, if it's a colleague or whatever, nonetheless, they should respect your ambition. Okay, so that's because they have chosen their path, and it's because you've chosen your path. Okay, each should do their own. All right, so that brings us to the end of topic number 3. Very briefly, we'll dive into a recap and then the Q&A. Before we do that, I'll give you a moment to jot down any notes or questions you'd like to take. All right, I'll be right back with you. All right, so moving on to, one more point in here. You may find that you can help each other despite having different visions. Okay, sorry, I do apologize. I didn't know that one was in there. I totally forgot. So you may find that you can help each other, despite having differing visions. Okay, so this is actually a point that I love, and a point that I very purposely put in here, because you might then find that if you do have different visions, you do have different things that you're looking at, it might not be easy for you to understand why these people feel and think this way, but you do sometimes find that potentially I could help you and you could help me, for the very core reason that, do I have a skill set I could offer you that would help you achieve your vision? And often a lot of these skill sets are universal and transferable, which means ultimately you're trying to grow a business and I can do paid advertising. My paid advertising is universally applicable to your business, your product, your service. Okay, that's just one very, very broad definition. There's other ways you can speak, you can talk, you can grab coffee, you can share ideas, you can look at ways that you can grow things together, which is very, very powerful. Okay, you can be informal partners where you're not actually partnered in a business, but you're just helping each other achieve your own visions. Wonderful, really, really nice. Okay, so to recap on today's session, number 1, use your desire to shape your success. Okay, this is something that you should focus on solely for you. What are your desires in life and how does that define your success? Number 2, tune out the noise. Okay, don't become influenced by other people and other companies and other beings and whatever they're doing. Just stay focused on you and enjoy your journey. And finally, support, never judge or impede others. Okay, it's not something we want to do. We only want to bring positivity and happiness to the table. So as always, a huge thank you for attending. Talk to a member of our team. Head over to iob-business.com/talk-to-us if you would like to, and then you can go ahead on here and you can book a call at a time that suits you. Okay, so as you can see, there's an example of the calendar that you'll see there. You can go ahead and pick a date and a time that suits you best if you would like to have a chat with us after today's webinar. Okay, so whilst we leave this up on screen for you there so that we don't lose it, I'm going to go ahead and grab the questions that I have from you. First question, I love this one. I'm not 100% sure what I want yet. Okay, honestly, simple answer here. That's great. That's okay. Continue to give it time and attention until something comes through. Okay, until then, make sure that you're growing something. All right, make sure that you're developing some kind of ambition, some kind of desire, some kind of idea, but you don't have to stick to this for the rest of your life. That's the wonderful thing about being a human being, is that you're allowed to change your mind. You're allowed to do different things. If there's something else that you want, great, add it on or switch. That's totally okay. So, and awesome. I hope that helps, but a really, really great question. Thank you for asking the question. Okay, cool. Another question here. I do worry that others are becoming more successful than me. Cool. Awesome question again. Okay. Half statement, half question. I'd love to answer it. Okay. So once again, I'm going to refer back to your path and your vehicle. All right. I don't know the full truth behind somebody else's venture. But what I can say is that you should stay your course, trust your vehicle, and trust your chosen path, because a lot of this stuff is smoke and mirrors. Okay, somebody could be sort of making out that they're more successful, they've achieved more, they've done this, they've done that, to try and impress you, ironically. Okay, now we always, or not always, but often see ourselves as, somebody else is doing better than us. We're not doing that well. And ironically, there are, I'm sure, hyper successful entrepreneurs that still believe this, that still have that self-doubt gnawing away at them, even though they're doing incredible things. Okay, there's always a reason to doubt yourself. And there's always a reason to tell that doubt to go away. Okay. Now, once again, make sure that you stay on your path. Shut out the noise, okay? Doesn't matter what other people are doing so long as you are happy, you're content, and you're doing well for yourself. A wonderful question. Thank you so much for asking. It was great to go over that again, actually. So I'm just going to do a quick scan, check that we don't have any more questions. Okay, all right. Well, once again, a massive thank you for attending. We don't have any more questions for today. Always a pleasure speaking to you. Particularly pleasure presenting this wonderful topic to you, and I very much look forward to speaking to you again on the next iOB business webinar. Take care and bye for now.